You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You can't handle the truth!
Well, we're giving you the Michigan Sports Truth, the show that reveals facts, truth, research, and statistics and never messes around. We lay down the entire truth about everything regarding your Detroit and Michigan sports teams, no matter if it's good or bad. No junk, no entertainment, no homerism, no coddling, no pop culture, no opinions, no shilling, and no fluff. Head over to our website at MichiganSportsTruth.com, follow us on Twitter at Michigan_Truth, and like our Facebook page, The Michigan Sports Truth. The hosts of the Michigan Sports Truth podcast do not take any suggestions or criticism from any member of its audience on how it should be run. It is up to the host to decide what they want to cover. They also do not intend to be any amount of popular in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Additionally, the views of the audience, right or wrong, do not reflect the actual truth revealed on this program.
The Postgame Edition for May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 2018 is now in session. Taylor Phillips, along with Louis Tenore, our national sports reporter. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Let's get down to it.
That one is long gone.
The Tigers just barely hang on to beat the Kansas City Royals, the last place Kansas City Royals, that is, 3-2 at Kauffman Stadium. Tigers bullpen almost blew another lead to those Royals. Blaine Hardy was recently called up, gives up the Royals' first run of the game in the sixth inning. The rest of the middle relievers, Alex Wilson, Daniel Stumpf, Joe Jimenez, they did fine. They did much better than last night, Stumpf and Jimenez especially. None of those middle relief pitchers that I just mentioned did not allow a base runner in any way, shape, or form, unlike Blaine Hardy. And then their closer, Shane Green, gives up the second Royals run. He got himself into trouble, but not all of it was his fault. Leonis Martin, the center fielder, made a stupid-looking error when a fly ball hits the top of his head when he misreads it. And he could make an excuse of the sun being in his sights. And that allowed Lucas Duda to score and Alex Gordon to reach second base. This is another example of how bad this team is, and they're supposed to be because it's a rebuilding year for them. For Jordan Zimmerman, he's improved to 2-0. Understandably, 5 innings pitched, however, but 2 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. He's getting a little better after all. He used to be very bad the last 2 years, but this year he's actually somehow somewhat improved. So I give him props for that. I don't know if I should give Ron Gardenhire any credit whatsoever. Gardenhire limited Zimmerman, whatever you may call it, any fatigue. Gardenhire saved Zimmerman the energy and the fatigue. I'm not a Gardenhire fan at all, but I believe Gardenhire did the right thing. Except he used Blaine Hardy to start the 6th inning, and Blaine Hardy gave up a run. Blaine Hardy is the same bad relief pitcher that he always has been, or mostly. Blaine Hardy has just not developed, and that's a bad move that I like to criticize Ron Garbage Fire for. But other than that, Alex Wilson, Daniel Stumpf, and Joe Jimenez, they were probably Ron Garbage Fire proof, you might say. And then Shane Green almost blew another save. Again, not all his fault, but he's still responsible for allowing those runners on. But Leonis Martin committing that such error has to be on SportsCenter's not top 10 nominees next Friday. Clearly. That error was San Diego Padres-esque, as I mentioned before on Lewis's show a little earlier tonight. That being said, This is another win that only benefits their carelessly confident owner, Chris Ilitch, who does not have the passion like his father, Mike Ilitch, did before he died. And that ruins Chris's chances of selling the franchise to an owner that means business and cares a lot more, even more than Mike Ilitch. At least Chris is willing to rebuild with the Tigers and Red Wings at least separately. At least Jeff Moss of the Detroit Sports Rag sees the Red Wings and Ken Holland totally tanking next season. But the Tigers, not so much. They're probably going to play those garbage teams again anyway. They'll probably finish with a mediocre or a little bit worse record. They're probably not going to tank full throttle, but they're not going to be good either. They're going to be very bad. They're going to be in between very terrible and around 500. It's a little worse than mediocre. Because right now, the Tigers stand at 14 and 18, second place in the AL Comedy Central, and 5 spots, in fact, and 6 games out of the second American League wildcard spot, claimed currently by a tie, an almost tie between the Los Angeles Angels at 20 and 12 and the defending World Series champion Houston Astros at 21 and 13. Next game, 2:15 tomorrow, Matt Boyd versus Jacob Junis. Jacob Junis has pitched very well against the Tigers the last time I saw. Jacob Junis can pitch pretty well against other teams as well. Not just the Tigers, but other teams. Matt Boyd, he's pitched well as of late. He hasn't given up a run in the last 2 games. Or just the last game. Whichever. That's as far as that's all I can remember. Legitimately. So we could expect a pitcher's duel tomorrow afternoon, Central Time 1:15, Eastern Time 2:15. And we'll have that covered tomorrow early evening at 6, unless I'm having dinner. So, that being said, it's time for Louis Tenore's National Sports Report. Louis, take it away.
You got it. All right. Right now we're just going into the between the NBA and NHL playoffs right now. But I think I'm going to start in the Major League Baseball department. So away we go. And it starts off from the top of the page like this. The Yankees beat up on the Indians 5-2. Gray got the win. Bauer got the loss, and Robertson got the save. Yeah, Gray got the win. He kind of worries me, though, but at least he came through. Rays are leading the Blue Jays 5-3 top of the ninth. There's 1 out and nobody on. Coloma's pitching, and Martin got the save, got the loss. And at one time, Russell Martin was a Yankee, briefly. Dodgers and Padres are in a tie, 3-3 in the top of the 6th. No one on, no one out. Heimer is batting and Kemp pitching, and Kemp is at bat. In the top of the 4th, no contest so far as the Twins are beating up on the White Sox 8-1, 2 out and a runner on second. Boston is pitching, and Garver is at bat. Oh, boy. Going into the bottom of the 5th, the Pirates and Brewers are each tied at 1. Kane, Yelich, and Aguilar are due up. In the bottom of the 5th, the Marlins are leading the Reds 3-0. A runner on first and 1 out. Smith is pitching, and Schneider is at bat. End of the 6th, or now I should say going to the top of the 7th, the Rockies hold on to a 1-0 lead over the Mets. That's right, guys and folks. Story, Latavina, and Curvis are due up at bat. Top of the 5th, oh boy, this is a laugher already. Giants are beating up on the Braves 10-2. runner on first and 1 out. Sims is pitching, and Polanco is at bat. This is a laugher. Rangers lead the Red Sox 1-0, bottom of the second. No one on and 1 out. Rodriguez is pitching, and Profar is at bat. Top of the second, the D-backs lead the Astros 2-0 with the runner on first and 1 out. Greinke is pitching, and McCain is at bat. Final in 10 innings, the Cardinals over the Cubs 8-6. Lions got the win, and Farrell got the loss. The Phillies over the Nationals 3-1. Vasquez got the win, Rourke got the loss, and Nerles got the save. Tigers edged the Royals 3-2. Zimmerman got the win, Hamill got the loss, and Green got the save. Coming up in just a few minutes, the Orioles will take on the Athletics. Gassman and Cal will be your probable pitchers. And at 9:10, just a few minutes from now, the Angels will take on the Mariners. Skaggs and Gonzalez are your starting pitchers in that game. And that's only about 5 to 7 minutes away, give or take. All right, so let's take a look at the standings. And they read like this. It's getting very interesting now in the American League East. As thanks to that win by the Yankees. As they did win 5-3. Okay. The Red Sox are still in front, 23-9. Just a half game, though, ahead of the Yankees at 23-10. I told you they were catching up. The Rays are 5.5 back at... the Blue Jays are 5.5 back at 18-15. The Rays, 14-16, 8 back, and 15 back. The Orioles, 8-24. In the AL Central, or as you call it, the Comedy Central, Indians are 17-16, have a 2.5 game lead over the Tigers at 14-18, 3.5 over the Twins at 11-17, the White Sox 6.5 back at 9-21, and the Royals 10-23 at 7 back. My goodness. All right, in the West, the Angels are 20-12, and the Astros are 21-13 in a virtual first place tie, but Angels have the lead by a percentage point, 625 to 618. Mariners are 18-13, just a game and a half back, depending on the outcome of this game coming up tonight. Athletics 16-16, 4 games back, also depending on what happens later. And the Rangers are 13-21 at 8 back. In the National League, the Braves are 19-12, have a game and a half game lead over the Mets at 17-13, and the Phillies 18-14. The Mets lead the Phillies by 4 percentage points, 567 to 563. Ooh, close. Nationals dead even at 17-17, 3.5 back, and the Marlins are 8 back at 11-20. Ugh. So much for Jeter's ownership. All right, in the Central, another close race for the most part. Cardinals, 19-12, have a 1 game lead over the Brewers at 19-14. The Pirates are 2 back at 18-15. The Cubs, just 2.5 back at 16-14. And the Reds, 8-24, 11.5 back. I think they're heading towards countdown to extinction by this point. The tragic number.
Mm-hmm.
In the West, D-backs, 21-11. A 3.5 game lead over the Rockies. That's 18-15. The Giants are 17-15, 4 back. The Dodgers are 15-17, 6 back. And at 10.5 back are the Padres at 11-21. All right, let's check the schedule for tomorrow. As, of course, being at Sunday, it's mostly a day game schedule, with the exception of one night game, of course. And the schedule reads like this. Leading off the 105 games are the Indians versus the Yankees. 110 games, the Rockies take on the Mets, and the Blue Jays take on the Rays. Got some 135 games in action as the Giants take on the Braves. The Phillies take on the Nationals. 210 games, Pirates take on the Brewers. The Twins take on the White Sox. 215, your Tigers take on the Royals. 305, the Red Sox take on the Rangers. 4 o'clock, the Dodgers take on the Padres. 4:05, the Orioles take on the Athletics. We got quite a few 4:10 games on the list tomorrow as the Marlins take on the Reds. The Astros take on the D-backs. And the Angels take on the Mariners. And at 8 o'clock, the Cubs take on the Cardinals. All right, so shall we go? Let's go to the NBA. Right now, the Cavaliers are leading the Raptors 20-17, 1:35 to go in the first quarter. Traded now 1:07 to go. It's 22-17. Lowry has 7 points, 2 assists, and 1 rebound, and Kevin Love has 8 rebounds, 6 points, and 1 assist. And we had a doozy today of a game in the first game as the Celtics beat the Sixers in overtime, 101-98. Jason Tatum, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Joel Embiid, 22 points, 19 rebounds, 2 assists. And the Celtics now lead the series 3-0. I was not expecting that whatsoever. So let's check tomorrow's schedule, as it should be a good matchup here. The Warriors will take on the Pelicans. That's at 3:30 on ABC. Always a good matchup to look forward to, especially if it's on ABC. And at 8 o'clock on TNT, the Rockets take on the Jazz. So that'll be interesting. And the Rockets-Jazz series is trying to be quite a series. I didn't give the Jazz much hope at all. Well, okay, I admit, and I look not completely ridiculous for even thinking such a thing. All right, so now we'll transfer on the ice. Right now, it's a doozy as the Penguins are leading the Capitals 3-2 at the end of the second period. Their period should be coming up shortly, and the Jets take on the Predators in about 20 to 25 minutes from now. Scheduled for 9:30. That game was on NBCSN.
Can't wait for it.
Yeah, I can catch the game on my computer, thanks to a very reliable site, which I don't think I'm allowed to mention. Tomorrow's games.
You can mention anything you want here.
Okay, it's on VIPbox.net.
That's fine.
Okay.
People can find it too.
Okay. There's that one you can do for free. ESPN Plus, you got to pay $5.
Yep.
Anywho, tomorrow's games, the Bruins take on the Lightning at 3. Should be interesting. The Lightning can close it out. And at 7:30, the matchup I've been waiting for, of course, as the Golden Knights take on the Sharks. Oh boy, is this matchup becoming interesting or what? Oh yeah. I'm enjoying it. All right, so if nobody minds, I like to check some MLS scores. Yes, I do follow soccer, folks, if you can believe that.
And there's a Detroit MLS soccer team coming in the future too. So everybody better be prepared.
That's true, and I wish this team luck.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we go as follows. Right now, Chicago and Atlanta are scoreless. The Houston Dynamo lead the LA Galaxy 1-0. Kansas City and Colorado are scoreless in the first half. The Montreal Impact beat the New England Revolution 4-2. Mm-hmm. In the Battle of New York, the Red Bulls beat New York Football Club 4-0. That game was on ESPN this afternoon. I was able to catch it, and I am very happy. I'm a very happy camper. because to me, the Red Bulls are the Yankees of MLS, while I think of New York City Football Club as the Mets, even though they have partial ownership with the Yankees. But that's another story for another time, folks. Minnesota over Vancouver 1-0, and LA Football Club against Dallas ends in a 1-1 draw. Seattle and Columbus coming up at Portland, San Jose and Portland coming up at 10:30. It's 10:30 Eastern time, by the way. So now we'll check on with the news items of the day. As we've mentioned, Justify has won the 144th running of the Kentucky Derby this afternoon. I should say this evening. And the interesting thing is that this horse did not race as a previous 2-year-old, as most horses do. And this was the first horse since the late 1880s that did not race 2-year-old and actually won the Kentucky Derby. So it's a bit of history, and neither did its. There was one other horse that also did the same thing. I thought actually that was in the rule book that you had to race as a 2-year-old to actually qualify for the Derby, but I guess that does not apply anymore. Okay, now on to the football news. The Seahawks have released longtime defensive end Cliff Abel after a failed physical designation. The team had announced yesterday Abel's football tenure was in doubt since he suffered a career-threatening neck and spine injury last October that caused him to miss the remaining 12 games of the season. Abel said in the offseason that he would sit down with his family and discuss his future sometime this spring. By that point, he had roughly been 6 months removed from surgery. It is not clear from the team's announcement whether Abel will resume his career, as he told the Players Tribune that he is undecided on whether to continue playing or call it a career. So, but when you have a neck and spine injury like that, I think it's safe to say that playing that long, maybe it's time you hang him up. Okay, Angels rookie Otani had a scheduled start for Tuesday that was pushed back due to a mild ankle sprain, has completed a 30-day bullpen session as of yesterday, and is on track to return to the mound for the Angels tomorrow versus the Mariners. While the team is yet to make the announcement official, Mike Socha sounded optimistic about his chances to pitch. We'll see how he feels after a post-workout and make an evaluation if he will pitch tomorrow or not. Socha told reporters yesterday's series opener against the Mariners, the medical department said his running will probably become faster than he would have to do off the mound. We've seen that, but everything seemed to be well this afternoon when he threw, and hopefully it will hold up, and we'll make a decision and see when he's going to full back in. So there is hope. As we mentioned last night, Albert Pujols became the 32nd player in Major League Baseball history to have 3,000 hits, and is only the 4th player to do that while having 600 home runs. And Carlos, he's only one of 2 Dominican-born players to do that. The other was Carlos Beltre. If you're thinking it's Alex Rodriguez, no, he is Dominican descent, but he is not born in the Dominican Republic. So that does not count, as my cohort said, but he actually was wrong. All right. Incidentally, Justified's odds were at 7-2 for the Derby before it went off this afternoon. The Milwaukee Bucks plan to interview Spurs assistant coach Becky Hammon for the franchise's head coaching job. League sources told ESPN yesterday. The former WNBA star is the first female assistant coach and now is the first woman to be interviewed for a head coaching job for the NBA. Hammond is not the favorite to get the job. That includes a list of 10 other prospects. However, the Bucks ownership group and general manager John Horst was intrigued enough to ask permission to speak with her. The Bucks met with Hammond last year about the team's general manager vacancy, despite the fact she had no prior front office experience. Hey, you got to start somewhere. Hammond, however, did coach the Spurs Summer League team in 2015 to a championship. She is a 6-time WNBA All-Star and had a 16-year career. She retired in 2014 to accept the Spurs assistant coaching job, head by Coach Greg Popovich. Papa, you're doing something great. A little something about last night's game. Anthony Davis, double-double last night, 33 points and 18 rebounds as the Pelicans beat the Warriors. Oh, my goodness. Houston scored 70 points in the first half as they beat Utah 113-92. Eesh. And it was a combined no-hitter as the Dodgers beat the Padres last night. I say, though, if you have something good, why would you want to take some of your pitchers out? Let them finish the job. They got no hitter in the works. I mean, really? I mean, come on, people. All right, so we'll just have a few more notes here. Just to get an update on the hockey score here. See if we've gotten to the third period just yet. The game actually started at 7:15, so that's why it's already started. It's already starting the third period. Okay, we are not back yet. All right, so now we'll go to some other news of interest from the ESPN site. Yeah, I get all my information from there. All right. Well, very disturbing. Another NBA note here, just coming up this from the Utah part of it, and this is why I thought that Utah wasn't going because Rick Rubio was injured. He was on the disabled list, and I didn't give him much of a chance to be in this series. But behold, the point guard was upgraded to questionable for Game 4 against the Rockets, and the team source said the Jazz are optimistic that Rubio will make his second-round debut tomorrow. The source said the team will have a better idea about Rubio's availability after he gets more treatment tomorrow morning. Yeah, so that's why I kind of wrote him off, because when he was gone, I'm like, oh, Rubio's gone? Forget it. Rubio has been sidelined for the entire Western Conference semifinal series. He has not played since he strained his left hamstring in the first quarter of the Jazz's Game 6 win to close out their first-round series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Continuing on, Jazz power forward Derek Favors is also listed as questionable after leaving the Game 3 loss to the Rockets with a sprained left ankle. With Rubio out, rookie star Donovan Mitchell has been forced to play point guard. Mitchell has struggled with his shot in the series, shooting 32.2% from the floor. Ugh. 32.2%. Eesh.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. We're asking Donovan right now to be a point guard, and it's different. Jazz coach Quinn Snyder said that there are a lot of things when you take someone out of your lineup as instrumental as Rick that you have to adjust. Rubio was acquired in an off-season trade from the Timberwolves, averaged 14 3-points per game, 7.3 rebounds, and 7 assists against the Thunder in the first-round playoff series of his career. So there is a chance he's going to play. Well, yeah. I think, though, if Mitchell didn't step up, to where he is now, I don't think that the Jazz will be in this series whatsoever. So that's probably why. Okay, very disturbing story from Manchester United. That's in London, of course. This has been one of the top stories of the day. Former Manchester United manager Sir Alex Ferguson undergoes brain surgery. Oof. This is a very disturbing story. And, of course, as I mentioned, Manchester United has a stake with the Yankees. The United have confirmed that former manager Sir Alex Ferguson has undergone emergency surgery for a brain hemorrhage and is recovering in the hospital. Oof. The club's statement went on to say that the procedure had gone very well, but he needed a period of intensive care to optimize his recovery, while adding that the family requested his privacy in this matter. Yeah, I think if you're going through brain surgery, you do need privacy in that matter. Break. Ferguson's son Darren, the manager of the Rovers,
This is the Postgame Edition.
Some of Ferguson's former players took a look at him and said that he is doing well and should be okay. The club statement wanted to say that the treatment had gone very well. Ferguson's son, the manager of the Russ, missed the third-tier side of the final match of the season on Saturday for family reasons. The club said that in a statement today. Some of the former players took to Twitter to offer words of support. They said they're absolutely devastated to hear about Sir Alex being unwell in a hospital. All thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. And Cristiano Ronaldo also played for Ferguson in 6 seasons, and of course he is one of the game's better players. So, I can only imagine, though, if Ronaldo ever came here. I mean, that would be something. But unfortunately, he hasn't come through. And more news from the NBA front concerning Kerr and Warriors downplay Rajon Rondo's dangerous tactics despite Steve Kerr's concerns. Just when we thought we heard it all, folks, not so fast. Warriors coach Steve Kerr says the competitive fire of Draymond Green and Rajon Rondo, but he is concerned that the Pelican point guard is resorting to dangerous tactics. Ooh. Kerr was referring to 2 instances in Game 3 Friday that both involved Rondo. Oh, what a shock. In the first quarter, he dangled his right foot underneath an airborne Stephen Curry while the 2-time MVP was shooting a jumper late in the game. It appeared that Rondo tried to trip Green from behind as the forward was walking toward his bench during a timeout. Oh boy, of course. Kerr acknowledged the possibility, spoke to the league about those plays. We probably send the tape of the instances in, he said. It is not going to do anything. Hopefully, they just keep an eye on it. It's a dangerous play. Kerr's players were less critical of Rondo's conduct. I get no comment, Curry told ESPN. If the league wants to look into it, then that's on them. We're trying to win Game 4. Even outspoken Green gave Rondo a pass. How interesting. Reads it like this. Y'all said across the line, I say I did what I said to do, or I didn't do what I said to do, and most importantly, to win a basketball game. So yeah, I don't believe in crossing a line. Oof. When asked particularly about Rondo placing his foot under Curry, Green pivoted with his response. I think Steph will have a better shooting day tomorrow, he said. Kevin Durant will be a better shooting tomorrow. Klay Thompson will be even better than he was tomorrow. And I think we do what we came here to do. And that's it, which is to win the game. Because what do you do for? You play to win the game. Durant said he didn't see the Curry play, but he considers it a nuisance. Nah, it's basketball. He said, just keep playing. Nothing going on with that. I haven't seen it, but it's in basketball. And blank happens. Warriors are still up 2-1 in the Western Conference semifinal series. Game 4 is scheduled for 3:30 p.m. tomorrow. And right now, the Cavaliers are up 36-33 with just about 6 minutes to go in the half. That's according to my set. That's on ABC. Yes, I have the game on right now, of course. All right. Checking the hockey score. We've got to be going into the third period by now. And yes, we are. It is now a tie game. 3-3, 16:34 to go in regulation. The Caps are fighting back. How do you like that? I must say, though, ever since that incident, I think maybe the Caps might be in trouble. When your forward got suspended 3 games for becoming a total jackass, that might be a factor. And sure enough, he was becoming one. Ugh. All right, so we'll just check the Domingo baseball scores. And they read like this. Excuse me. As we're finishing up the West Coast games of the night, as we're now entering week 6.5 of the baseball season. All right. And down the list we go. Right now, in the bottom of the 6th, the Dodgers are leading the Padres 4-3 with a runner on first. Fields is pitching, and Undinero is at bat. In the bottom of the 6th, the Twins are beating up on the White Sox 8-2. Lynn is pitching, and Delmarco is at bat. Bottom of the 7th, it's 1-1 with the Pirates and the Brewers, with a runner on first and 1 out. Crink is pitching, and Ron is at bat. Top of the 7th, the Marlins still lead the Reds 3-0. Bryce is pitching, and Rojas is at bat. Marlins and the Reds. Top 9, Rockies lead the Mets 1-0. Bases are loaded and 2 out. And Gelman is pitching, and Dohal is at bat. This is going to be interesting, folks. Going in the bottom of the 8th, the Giants are still beating up the Braves 10-2. Already just pitching. Acuna Jr. is Duup is Acuna Jr. and Freeman. In the top of the 5th, the Red Sox and Rangers are tied at 1. There's 1 out with runners at first and second. Hamels is pitching, and Ramirez is at bat. Going into the bottom of the 4th, the D-backs lead the Astros 2-0. Marti, Mathis, and Hamid are due up. There's no score between the Orioles and the Athletics as we head into the bottom of the 2nd. Olsen, Chapman, and Kenta are due up. And at the end of one inning, the Angels lead the Mariners 1-0. Marti, Young, and Rivera are due up. And I believe that is it. Yes, all the games are final, and that's it for me. So now I'll hand it back over to you.
All right. So, as I mentioned before, we'll be on the air tomorrow at 6 or later. depending what situations what we're in here. Tigers and Royals play at 2:15. Matt Boyd and Jacob Junis go at it. Like I said, it'll be a pitcher's duel. We'll see who the better pitcher is. I think Jacob Junis will be a slightly better pitcher than Matt Boyd, starting-wise. The bullpen, well, we don't even know. Sometimes they're on, sometimes they're off. But they've had their they've had their issues. The bullpen has for years upon years in the past. But that being said, it's time to get on out of here. I'm Taylor Phillips for Lewis Tenore. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Like and share the Michigan Sports Truth Facebook page. Follow the Michigan Sports Truth on Twitter at Michigan_Truth. Also listen to us here on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes. So please spread the word about the Michigan Sports Truth podcast. Listen first and then share. Download it if you need to. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Good night.
The hosts of the Michigan Sports Truth podcast do not take any suggestions or criticism from any member of its audience on how it should be run. It is up to the host to decide what they want to cover. They also do not intend to be any amount of popular in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Additionally, the views of the audience, right or wrong, do not reflect the actual truth revealed on this program.
Transmission complete.